Most extent of the Fellsmere property. You can see the 4-lane divided thoroughfare leading from I-95. We're looking down Highway 512 that heads into Fellsmere. As you can see, there's a good size deacceleration lane providing access to the property. And you can see this black vehicle just came off the off-ramp from Interstate 95. And once you approach the property, there's a common drive access. Now this is city property, and at the end of this access there's a cell tower. It's got a tree motif. So once you enter the property, the subject property is to the right or to the east. So I'm looking across the property now. There's a small retention pond here. I'm not sure if this is on the subject or not. Not maintained properly. You can see the vegetation. There are a number of utility poles here for light. None of them have the heads on. They've all been set in concrete. There's a lot of conduit everywhere across the property. So here off to the east you can see the proximity to the highway, the traffic going across. Now I'm looking directly across the subject property. You can see a McDonald's on the other side of the freeway and a Chevron gas station. Property needs to be mowed, needs to have debris cleaned off. There are transformer pads on the property, as well as water and sewer, but it has not been inspected, which is another issue that needs to be resolved. There is no paving, but the grading looks like it has been established on the common access areas. Here's a storm sewer inlet, completely unprotected. All the silt is just running into this whenever you get a heavy rain, clogging up the pipes. This is a detention pond for the subject property. It's completely silted in with cattails and totally would not be operational. There's no way you'd get a permit, a final CO on the property in this condition. It would have to be regraded. Again, you can see the poor quality of maintenance in the detention pond area. North of the subject is a very large 85-acre natural preserve purchased by the city. And you can see the electrical transformer box here at the back of the property. Box is in about the center of the property at the very back, adjoining the detention pond. And you can see there's a lot of leftover pipe from the water installation. This portion of the detention area is still in pretty good shape, still fairly clean around the edges. Again, you can see the highway immediately east of the property. None of the improvements you see here were inspected by the city, and there's a substantial lien on the property because the property owner posted a bond and never got the improvements accepted. Another problem that needs to be worked out. You can see here, kind of buried in the weeds, here's a fire hydrant internal to the property. Again, not been tested. It is hooked up to the main water supply, however. Another inlet with no erosion protection. It is raised rather high above the surrounding area, so probably not accumulating a lot of silt. This transformer is at the southeast corner of the property, adjoining State Highway 512. So generally now I'm walking from the highway from the east and I'm walking toward the west. You can see the large cell tower structure. Overall, the property is not in too bad a shape, just needs to be mowed and cleaned up and to have all the utility stub outs protected. We've got a little small conduit like this, 2-inch, 3-inch, 1.5 inch over many areas of the property. Have no idea what it is, and there are no as-built. That's another area that needs to be further evaluated. Here's another storm sewer inlet that is unprotected. This one is at grade and would be picking up silt from any wash on the property. Did find a remnant of the old silt fence that may have encircled the perimeter. Judging from the location of the silt fence and the natural grade, it looks like the site was brought up a couple of feet. And if that's correct, that means we may have to evaluate the quality of the fill material and the compaction. Now there is a left turn lane coming from the west eastbound, coming into the property as well. So that's been built as well. That's a substantial expense that's already done. So I'm pulling out from the property, and I'll give a view out the front window as I turn left and proceed toward Interstate 95. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a work day. Looks like what may be the engineer's sign, MBV Engineering. So we're approaching the intersection of Interstate 95 and Highway 512. Signalized intersection. The development, gas stations, convenience stores, is all on the east side of the highway. To date, there is nothing on the west side where our corner is located, probably because there's not very much going on in Fellsmere at the moment. So we're on the south side, looking at the south side of the road, east of Interstate 95. You can see there's a McDonald's, a Chevron, a raceway, which is a racetrack clone, and then no further development. Looking on the north side, there's a Stuckey's and a Dairy Queen. And in addition to the Stuckey's and the Dairy Queen, there's also what looks like to be a British Petroleum gas station at the front. And again, you can see a freeway at the rear.